Hello, say Charat. There are several ways to earn money, and the most common way is getting a job and trying to get promotions at that job to increase your salary. Today I'm inviting you to open your eyes to new and better possibilities of becoming wealthy. For example, wouldn't it be better to invest in your own idea than to keep on trying to grow in your career? The truth is that if you want to become rich instead of wanting to increase your own salary, you can do what rich people do. They create money. Creating money means seeing an opportunity and creating a profitable business around that opportunity. This is a much better way of becoming rich by turning ideas into money. Now, how good is your ability to create money? If you're not fully able to answer that question, it means you're stuck with one thought, which is probably your corporate career. That means you're stuck with the idea of exchanging your time and work for money. Receiving a pay raise or getting a new job is a possibility, but there are many others. Let's see how you can also develop the ability to invent money by creating a profitable business. Investing in a parallel business of your own could be more profitable than investing in your own career. Imagine this situation. Alice is a receptionist at a doctor's office. She receives an average salary. She's able to pay her bills, but she's left with nothing to save and invest. Now imagine if Alice would like to increase her income. She first considers advancing in her career. She could work harder and arrive earlier and make the managers to like her. If she's able to stand out enough, she might receive a pay raise. That's the strategy of trying to advance in your own career in order to increase your income. Now, trying to increase your income by advancing in your career is the only strategy that most people consider when they are thinking about earning more money. It might work, but there are limits to this approach. Because no matter how good of a receptionist Alice is, there is a roof, there is a maximum value that the managers will pay her for this type of job. But what alternative does she have? Well, Alice could use that extra time to concentrate on her own parallel business instead of focusing on her career. For example, she notices that many people who work in her office building are not able to buy snacks at a good price. So instead of arriving earlier and staying until late in her office, trying to achieve a pay raise, Alice could use those extra hours to prepare snacks that would be sold to other people during office hours. And if those sales go well, she could start to use that money to hire other people so they would make more snacks. And with time and effort, that parallel business could be growing while Alice stays at her receptionist job. And if everything goes well, her snack business would become her main source of income, making Alice be able to ask for her resignation from her desk job to concentrate in her own business. So what did Alice do in this example? She identified a market demand. She had an idea. She invented a business around that idea, creating money where there was nothing before. That is exploiting the opportunity of inventing money. Pay attention to the chances of creating money. Opportunities walk in front of you all the time. Most people just see a few solutions to earning more money, which is working hard and saving up and getting loans. At the same time, people with a rich mentality are able to see opportunities and invent money. Opportunities walk in front of them all the time, and they're able to transform some of those opportunities into more money. Now, this happens because of two reasons. First, of course, those people already had money. And when you have money, it becomes easier to invest in businesses and risk to earn more. In the end, the loss of that invested money wouldn't make them miss a meal. But there is a second reason, a previous reason. Rich people are able to see opportunities to earn money because they have financial intelligence. When you're trained to earn money, you're able to identify faster and clearer any chance of a business. You're able to read the numbers and understand that a certain opportunity can put money into your pocket. This is true for traditional investment analysis, stocks, real estate, as well as also evaluating ideas. Whether it is, for example, a good idea to open a coffee shop. And what if the opportunity does not come in front of you? Then you chase the opportunity. You find unattended demands, stock with low price, properties with a good revenue potential. The better your financial education is, the better your options to invest and earn more money. You start being the type of a person who creates your own luck, who invents money from what you have in your mind. Financial education won't completely guarantee that you get revenue. The foundation of any business is risk. But if you know how to read the numbers, you will be able to reduce some of that risk and invest a little more safely. This way, you create more and more money. The problem with this strategy is fear. Fear of creating your own business, fear in investing in an idea, fear of failure. You must have self-confidence if you want to create money. Fear is a big obstacle in your path of creating wealth. When talking about money, most people have been taught to live with fear. Fear of running out of money, fear of losing a job, of not having food to eat. This lack of confidence is the biggest obstacle in the path of inventing money through a profitable business. Inventing money is nothing else but taking an idea from your mind and creating a profitable business around it. It could be a product or a service that basically you've created from nothing. But most of the time it's simply solving an issue that most people have. Your mind can be your most valuable asset. And if you train it well, your mind could create great wealth in a relatively short period of time by creating a profitable business. It may look like a difficult path, but it's definitely shorter than spending 35 years working somewhere just to live off your pension in the future. However, turning an idea into business requires courage. You need to expand your comfort zone, work longer hours, raise initial capital, most of the time incurring debt, hire people. The chance of error is big, and that can paralyze you. At school, we learned that mistakes are a bad thing. Our teachers punished us when we made mistakes, but in real life we learn by making mistakes. A lot of people who were in a position to earn more money didn't become rich because of the fear of losing what they already had. People who are not able to take a step forward in order to avoid failure also avoided success. And to take that step and start creating money from an idea, you need to prepare yourself to fail. It is possible that the business you create comes to nothing, that you end up in a worse financial situation than before you started. And this is the risk that only people with a rich mentality are willing to take. You are paid by risk. Those who dare to create money will be very well paid. This is a basic rule in the world of finances. The higher the risk, the bigger the revenue potential. Someone who always operates inside their comfort zone in a safe job will be never taking risk, and they will always end up getting a salary consistent with that lack of risk. Those who decide to act in an area that very few people work in will usually earn more. This is just the law of supply and demand in action. The less supply, the higher the price to pay, as long as there is qualified demand, of course. Since there are less people willing to take the risks, the system rewards that small supply with a bigger compensation. A lot of people say they want to be wealthy, but those same people are more worried about receiving a pay rise in their safe jobs than about the chances of earning money at a large scale. We're obviously not talking about people who are in a very low financial level fighting to earn the necessary minimum to cover for their basic needs of housing and food. We're talking about people who already have a proper income, but they're losing the opportunity of earning more income for fear of taking risks in their own business. Do you know what is the main reason behind that fear? It is lack of financial education. The financial education is the best way of overcoming the fear of creating money. Knowledge will help you to take risks safely. If you want to take risks and turn ideas into money without fear, you need to know what you're doing. How do you rate the attitude of someone who doesn't understand anything about what they're doing, about their finances, and still take the risk of getting into that and putting their savings into a business? That is not a daring attitude. It is a foolish, reckless attitude. People who create money aren't just fearless, daring people. If you know what you're doing, you're not playing with your money as if you would be in a casino. Financial education demands boldness, but it also demands technical knowledge. Do you know how a company's cash flow works? Do you know how much you have to pay in taxes when you turn your idea into a business? Are you aware of the labor obligations when you're hiring people? There's no point in thinking you're earning money by selling your products or services in a parallel business if your expenses are higher than your income, or if the profit margin is so small that it doesn't make up for the hours that you spent working in that business. You will be able to do this type of estimate if you have good financial education, a deep education that goes beyond the motivational quotes about entrepreneurship. The discussion we've used to see online about entrepreneurship and innovation and creation of wealth is usually very motivating, but it almost always stays on the surface. It doesn't face the reality of the more complex issues about the business world. This is why financial literacy is the first step for those who want to develop their ability to create money. The more educated you are, the safer you will be to take risks in a new business. Also, financial education opens your eyes to opportunities that you didn't notice before. Rich people are able to create money because they received a good financial education. The good news is that access to good financial education has been made easier. In the past, you needed to study very difficult books about economy and business, but now there are simplified books, explanatory video guides, online courses. You can find dozens of videos here in this channel that will help you to deal better with your money. And if you're still here, you probably want to take a step further. You want to have an organized course to help you to increase your financial education in a logical sequence, in an easy to understand and easy to implement way. And that is why I'm inviting you to check our online course about wealth called Truly Wealthy by visiting arata.se/money taboo.